Good morning. Our hand today is going to be pocket sixes. In the sand, folds around, and small blind limps. So you can see that we're playing a 25 NL game. We've got 8 players. I've got 4,000 hands on this player. He plays 18-12, and I thought what was kind of interesting is his limp first in from the small blind is 0. He's played like he rarely ever gets this opportunity. Call 2-bet 7% from the small blind. His attempt to steal from the small blinds 46%. Limping is just unusual for him. So I kind of put together a range that looks maybe something like this. I kind of feel like he would raise with some of these better cards. So maybe it's just going to be something tight, maybe a bit junky, maybe a junky offsuit hands. Maybe those where he's going to see it. Maybe all of the offsuit aces. Maybe all of the offsuit aces. Kind of assume. No. I think we're going to do something like this. Just something ace 10, king 10. He'll probably limp queen 10. Probably limp jack 10. I think probably would have been a raise. And then some of these suited connectors. Maybe suited 1 gappers. That's about it. Just limping, hoping to catch something. Then it's on me. I called. I should say I checked behind. So everything that's not blocked out is the ISO raise. So I think I've got all of this. I've got a lot of hands, a lot of chunky hands in here. I get to see a flop. So let's see what happens. So flop comes down, king 5-2. Clubs. King 5-2, and villain bets. He bets half pot. On this board, I think he's probably betting quite a bit. I don't think we could fold just yet. I think this is a board he could be betting a flush draw. He could be betting a 5. Could be betting some sort of straight or gut shot, just trying to take the hand away. I am expecting if he bets now, he's likely gonna bet again. He's out of position. That's the problem. So he doesn't usually do a C bet, and I don't even think this qualifies as a C bet. So flop bets is 36%, C bets 57%. Doesn't even donk bet here, so I think he's kind of betting his hand and representing his hand here. So, oops, it's this player. So bottom pair, flush draw, open ender, maybe the gut shot. Probably not 2-card backdoor. I just think he's betting it because I didn't show anything, and I would have typically raised it, I believe. This could have been my first hand at the table too, because my stats aren't up, so I might not have anything against this guy, so I'm just kind of flying blind here. So he bets, and I think I call all my pairs plus flush draw, open ender, gut shots. I think I call with those, planning to see what he's gonna do. So we got 60%, 61%. He's betting. I'm continuing with about 47%. I think that's probably suitable. We're gonna see what happens if he checks a turn. We're probably have the okay to bet. Probably looking decent. So I called. 2 of diamonds comes out. I don't think that changes anything. In terms of the board, he bets half pot again. So at this point, I think he's looking at these, pocket pair below the top card, maybe top pair, and maybe even not all of these, maybe just like 9s and 10s. Maybe he has aces. I kind of feel like 6, 7s, 8s might just check. I don't think middle pairs betting again. I don't think these, 3s and 4s are going to be betting again. Flush draw could. I think he's probably decent enough to bet those. He is a winning player over these 4,000 hands. Oops, let's go this. So what do we have? So I do have a note that maybe he is like a poker chip, red chipper, or like a poker site user. Like any of those training sites that are out there. Seems like he might be one. So we've got check call 50% and 75% C bets barrels with bottom trips. He checks down 9s on the button with, basically under pair, so he's willing to check down. I think that's kind of leading me to think that this player might be just checking any of those middle pairs. And maybe even the 9s and 10s. So maybe he's only betting with the top pair type hands here because he's got the king. And might just check with the flush draw. So something like this. And I think once he bets again, I think we just have an easy fold. Unless we're planning to take it away if a heart comes. Then maybe we could call. I think for sure we're probably calling top pair. And if he bets a third time, then I think we're going to have to give up our weaker kicker hands. Would we ever raise here? I think we had opportunity to raise on the flop, so let's eliminate this. I think if we raise our sets, we raise our 2 pair. I think our top pair is fine, but I think we raise our middle pair and probably these pocket pair below the top cards. I think those are the hands that we should have raised. I think these are for protection. If we raise here and he's on a heart draw, he's just going to call. He'll check call on the turn and then check to us on the river. We check behind, we get a showdown. Or maybe he gives us credit for, maybe he gives us credit for a king. So I'm going to say these 3. Let's color code them. I think these hands are hands where we could raise here on the flop. We easily have a bunch of kings in our hand, especially offsuit kings. So if we raise those, it's going to freeze him. It does kind of look like we have top pair plus with that raise. We're using that to balance against our straight sets 2 pair, like those. Here I chose not to, and I do think it's still consistent with a call. So we're going to keep it in. The 2, had I raised and he checks to me, I still bet. I think the 2 works great. I mean, we hit trips at that point. If we have, like a 5 or these 6s like we do have, I think we fire again, kind of represent that king. I think hearts is probably drawing. I think king's calling. So if we go here and think about, what would he be calling with? I think quads in a full house. We're getting caught with that no matter what. But I think he would fold these hands. And those are hands that we're looking for. The 6s to 10s. We're looking for him to fold those. Top pair, maybe he folds, maybe he doesn't. All right, but as played, we check, he bets. I think we just have to give it up. I think we have to give up on all of these cards. We have flush and open ender. I'm not liking how I'm playing it. I don't think we could play the gut shot for just a call. I don't think we're getting the odds to do so. So we need 25% equity. That looks good for the flush draw and the straight draw. So we're going to say those are the cards that I should have been calling. River's 4 parts. That actually works pretty good because if I was planning to represent a heart, now it comes in. Gut shots. I wouldn't necessarily think player has hit their gut shot, but villain checks. And based on the villain, I don't think he's checking quads or full house, but I do think he's checking these hands. So the question is, can I get him to fold if I bet? Maybe. If he gives me credit for the heart, I think he could probably fold 9s and 10s, but I don't know. When we have the check down with the 9s and 10s, meaning he didn't bet. Yeah, I don't necessarily have information on him in the river, so if he folds those, he's folding 48%. So, and that's what we'd like as a bluff. But really, we're looking at the weak pairs, using those as a bluff. I guess my flush draws. Yeah, I should have a bunch of those. Oh yeah, because they all became flushes. That's right. So yeah, I've got the full house, flush draws. I'm betting 3 of a kind. I think I'm betting for some value here, because I think top pair calls. Good 2 pair. I think I bet for some value. Top pair, I think here's where my check comes into play, and a weak pair, we could probably bet that. So you can see that I really don't have much of a bluffing range here. 6%. Yeah, I think we're a little unbalanced. So I did bet. He calls. I bet 2/3 maybe. I bet he calls. He shows king 7. So I didn't have that king. I mean, I had a king, but I didn't have that king 7 in his range. So maybe he's playing something like this. Maybe suited aces as well as the limps. Maybe something like that. I don't know. So I don't really like how I played this hand. This player, again, his first hand at the table, so didn't really have any stats up. I recognized the name, and I think that's probably why I played it that way, knowing that he's capable of making some moves. I didn't want to. I think if I wanted to continue, I make that raise. I make the raise on the flop. I think that was a mistake. I make the raise on the flop. It's going to apply pressure on him. We may be able to get him to fold that king 7. However, knowing that he has like check down, or we've got the, let's see here, check call with bottom trips. Yeah, we don't have him. Yeah, we just have the check downs. He didn't. We don't have any information on him calling to bluff catch. In any case, so limp first in from SB with king of spades, 7 hearts. B half. Yeah, B 50%. B 50%. Check. Check call on king of hearts to check call. I think that was probably 66%. Yeah, probably about 66%. So king of hearts, 5 of hearts, 2 of clubs, 2 diamonds, 4 hearts. So he called with top pair here. All right, not happy with this hand, but that's why we review it. give us a better idea of how a villain plays, and also looks for ways in which we could do better. Yeah, I think I missed out the raise. Raise the flop. He calls. We bet the turn. We apply pressure, and then with that heart, we bet again. It would be a triple barrel. It would be a pretty big investment here. So he bets 1. We raise it to like 4, 3.5. Yeah, probably 3. He bets 1. We raise it to 3. He calls. So then we're at 8. He checks. We bet 4. Probably. 4 to 6. If he calls, now we're dealing with. There's 8 in there. Let's say we bet 4. He calls 8, 8, 16. So we're at 16. So then I bet 8 again. So I mean, it's not terrible because it was a small bet. It was a small pot pre-flop. But I think that's what would have happened. We raised with our 6s. He probably calls. We bet the turn. He probably calls. The heart gets there. That's consistent with raising with a nut flush draw. Or raising with a flush draw. The flush hits. It's going to be hard for him to call. Puts him at a tough spot. All right, so hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another.